So today I'm making chicken ramen noodle, but they are from scratch. So I'm making the broth and everything, and they're like the healthier like kind. They're not like the instant ramen noodle that you eat with the seasoning, and it's not healthy. So if you like ramen noodle, this is actually very easy. This is like very easy, and you probably, once you watch this video, you're gonna do it all the time. Like if you're craving ramen noodle. I wanted to do meat today, but then I decided to just do chicken and tomorrow do meat. Basically, I want to repeat the process because I posted this picture and a lot of people liked it, the ramen noodle that I made on my Instagram. So I'm gonna redo that right now, and this is really easy. So the first thing that we're going to do is get a pot, or we can use the pressure cooker, and we're gonna spray some oil or just put a little bit of oil. Depends on what kind of pot that you have, like if it's like a stick one or non-stick one. Yeah, so I added my oil. This is probably a lot of oil because I just, in my head, I thought I got a lot of chicken like the last time, but my chicken is less. So I'm just gonna take some tissues and just remove the oil. So here I removed it. I just have a little bit, some of it here, like all over the place. I just wrapped it like that, and we're gonna add our chicken. We got our chicken and we turn this on, and I'm gonna let the chicken cook a little bit and add the seasoning on the chicken. What you want to use is Cajun spice and garlic powder, okay? And that's it. You can add a little bit of ginger, or I add the masala spices that I made for the chai, but don't add much. I don't want it to be too like you know, too much intense. Just add a little bit, just like literally just that much, a little bit. So you can skip that part if you don't want it to be so intense. It was not intense, but you can add something else. You can add like some spices like cloves and cardamom inside, like some cardamom and some cloves. You can just put them there to cook with it. So I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do today. I'm gonna make it very simple for you all, so I might not add the masala spices. I'm just gonna show you how it's going to be, okay? So this is what we're going to do, is add our Cajun spice like on top of the chicken while it's cooking, because we're gonna flip it, and then we're going to add our garlic. And this garlic powder is not intense. I explained that before because it's the organic form, but it tastes more fresher. Yeah, just let the chicken cook like that. To flip it every time, like flip it and add the seasoning, you know. Where is it? Because I'm recording this. Just like that. If you feel like you want to add a little bit more oil, go ahead. So yeah, like this. As you all don't have the masala spices, I'm gonna show you another thing, but we want to cover the chicken from both sides like that. You know, last time I put like, I think that much, yeah. Like not. And then the garlic powder almost finished. I need to get more. I have another garlic powder, but not this time. Here are dry spices, because if you don't have the powder, we got cardamom, we got some peppercorn and some cinnamon, a little bit, not too much. Like that's what I mean by just a little bit, and some cloves, and then we just let them for a little bit, and we want to add oil and flip it if we need it. Might add just a little bit of oil. You can add a little bit of ginger powder, but I got this fresh one. You can make it less, just half of it. So adding this here, and I just put my chicken. I'm gonna flip it again. So that's it. We don't want the chicken to be fully cooked, like you can see, like it's not fully cooked, but it's good. It's getting all the seasoning, and now we're gonna add water. So, and then we're going to add our water here. This much water. It was about 1,200 grams. Like, yeah. But basically, I just want to like cover the chicken. I think this is enough for me. If you got more chicken, you can add more water. Or if you cooking on the stove, just let the heat now low and just cover it, and you can check on it and add more water if it needs more water. But for me, this looks good, and I'm gonna close it. So I'm closing it, and then I'm gonna put it on chicken, okay, and let it cook. So we got our broth and chicken ready, and you can see here we got the cloves floating around, and that's why I don't like to use them. I grind them. I use the masala that I made for the chai, and I put a little bit of it, just a tiny bit, like just a little bit of it, like a pinch, okay, and with the ginger. But I don't like them to be floating around, but you can remove them totally. Anyway, I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do next. So we got a few choices. I'll show you what you can do, but the thing that the restaurant do is actually using spaghetti, and I think they do something for the spaghetti before putting it in the noodles and let it cook, because then they're gonna be like a noodle and they're gonna be a little bit still hard, because if you're gonna cook the noodles there, they're just gonna be too saggy, and you don't want that, okay, unless if you're just gonna put it and eat it right away. So what I usually do is I don't use the seasoning. I just use the noodles, or we got like the fresh noodles or the noodles like in a bag. You can use those or whatever. There's also packages like of just noodles without the instant powder. Like you can use it for cooking. You can use that. I couldn't find any. I found some, but I did not like. But there's like noodles, like instant noodles, but without the seasoning. So what I'm gonna use today, the last time I used that, is put the broth here and remove the seasoning, and I'll show you. So this is the broth I want to show you. So you can add rice and let it cook, but it's kind of like, I don't know, like a lot of traditional cooking is kind of like that in our tradition and Indian food, but a different like seasoning style. So we call it mechboos, but we usually put a lot of things in tomato base and water, and then put the rice. So you're gonna cook it. And it's kind of similar to cooking biryani or other things. It's kind of like very simple. Once you get the hang of it, you can literally make everything. You can make broth, you can make stew, you can make whatever. But it's like different seasoning and different method of like how to start building up these stew or broth. So I'm gonna add this. So here it is. I'm gonna close it and let it for a few minutes. Here it is. I'm gonna put it here. You can keep it, of course, if you want, where it is. Let me close the camera so I would not make a mess. And I'm going to add my chicken on top. Let me tell you something. The rest of this broth, some people make it more intense. I saw that. And then they put it like, add in more seasoning and then put it in the freezer, like in cubes. And then they will add it to anything that they cook, like rice or anything like that, instead of using like, you know, not fresh chicken broth, the cubes or whatever that they're using. But the thing is, like today I did not put like fresh garlic. I put garlic powder, even if it was organic. I put Cajun spice. I don't feel like Cajun spice is like that healthy, but you can skip the Cajun spice if you want to like make it a healthy broth, and add the seasonings that I told you about, the masala seasoning or cloves of something, and garlic, onion. I'm gonna do that next time with the meat. Garlic and onion, and let it cook. Then you're gonna have like a really fresh broth, homemade broth, and you can eat the meat and whatever it is, and then freeze the broth. Also like meat broth, when you freeze it, it's very healthy for kids if you're gonna add it to their rice whenever you wanna cook. It's kind of like the bone broth that I have, but make sure to have this bone, like bone meat thing, like, you know, like more bone than meat if you're gonna make a broth, and a little bit of meat, or you can add meat and bone, but like, you know, the chunk of meat with bone. So yeah, or I'm gonna make only meat, like just meat. It was like there's no bone in it. I'm just gonna make like a broth with it, like a stew or something, or noodle. I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna make, but I'm gonna make it more fresh tomorrow. I'm gonna put like fresh ingredients like garlic and onion and other things. And yeah, I need more protein, so that's why I'm trying to add more protein to my diet, because I exercise a lot. Yeah, here's the final look, and I got my organic cola. I'm gonna eat and watch something. So you can cut the chicken to tiny pieces, but this chicken is very tender. Like, you can break it just with a fork and the spoon and eat, but it's good.